And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College Tornadoes athletics. We're here on Monday nights on Facebook Live, a virtual edition of Tornado Talk, and very happy to be joined this evening by the men's soccer coaching staff at Brevard College, head coach L. Dana. Coach L, thanks for joining the show.
Good to be here. Good to see you guys.
Great to have you, Coach. And also associate head coach Juan Mascaro, Jr. Good to see you, Junior.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, excited to have you two on the show and in this virtual format, and want to let folks know, Facebook Live viewers, feel free to comment or ask questions throughout the show. We'll try to get to your comments and questions through this evening's program, but we're going to really take a deep dive into the Brevard College men's soccer program tonight and learn what the Tornadoes have going on heading into the 2020 season this fall. But want to start with a recap of that 2019 season, which was a successful one. Coach L, it was your first year at the helm of the men's soccer program. Overall impressions, after that first year as the head coach here for the Tornadoes, now in the books, and capped by that ECAC tournament berth. What are your overall thoughts when you think back to that 2019 season?
Well, first of all, let me apologize for my puppies. I have two dogs here that seem to want to get in the show, but I had a great time. I hope the kids felt that they were in contention the whole year long. I felt that there was not one game that we never had an opportunity to win. And technically, we finished second in our division, and we weren't eligible for the tournament. But I feel that we could have made a run had we made it, or had we been allowed to play it. And looking at the overall scheme of things, I feel that we're among the top teams in the league, even looking ahead in terms of next year.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Junior, as far as kind of overall top line impressions of last year's team, the progress the team made throughout the season, when you think back at it, what are kind of going to be your overall thoughts as far as that 2019 team?
It was really encouraging just to see how the group grew, because we had a lot of key members come back. We had a really solid core group come back for this past season. And last year, they went through some growing pains, their junior year, and then they really turned it on for their senior year, and they finished strong. And it was really encouraging. And I was very happy to see the progress from last year to this year.
Do want to dive into a few of the highlights of last year's season, and there were plenty. But to me, it really all got started with a road win at LaGrange, a 2-1 overtime victory. The Tornadoes able to get a golden goal off a long throw-in play that resulted in the golden goal and the 2-1 win on the road at LaGrange. Coach L, do you recall that game? I'm sure you do, and how that sort of was a springboard for things to come for the Tornadoes.
Yeah, no, I do, and that really not only gave us the confidence of feeling the victory, but also the confidence of knowing that we don't ever give up, and I could see the seconds ticking, and everybody just saying one more, we'll have one more shot, and having gotten that win, just like you said, just was a turning point that gave us a lot of momentum.
The very next match, perhaps the biggest highlight of the season, a 5-0 victory over Maryville, the defending USA South Conference champions. And what was remarkable here is most of the damage done in that 5-0 win came a man down for the Tornadoes, yet able to come away with the 5-0 shutout victory under the lights and electric atmosphere on the BC campus. Junior, I'll let you kind of reminisce about that match. Had to be, one of the more exciting men's soccer matches to occur here at Brevard College.
Yeah, definitely. It was one of those games that when we did get the man sent off, you're like, oh, geez, here we go. All right, we'll see how we're going to grind this one out. And then, we had to adjust our style of play a little bit, so we were a bit more defensive. And we definitely relied on our set pieces and our counterattacks, and it was just awesome to see how one goal built upon the next goal, and then we got the next goal, and we kind of build momentum, and Maryville just kept getting frustrated. So, my expectations was that the game, I mean, nobody thought that the game was going to go like that to win 5-0. So definitely, my expectations were blown out of the water, and always happy to get a conference wins against one of the top teams in the conference.
And then a third straight win versus Pfeiffer. And that was another overtime victory, a 2-1 win at Ives Lamel Family Field. And it had to be, gratifying for you all as coaches, that win, because, coming off a emotional, sort of electric win over Maryville, you feel like, you could expect maybe a letdown from the Tornadoes, but they're able to get another win in overtime versus Pfeiffer. Do you recall that one in specific, Coach L?
No, you hit it in the nail, because that's very common, right? When you or when you come out of a big win, it's hard to get refocused, and especially when you beat somebody that was a returning champion, and to overlook the next opponent or something like that, and that's when what Junior mentioned, that maturity and that experience of the returning seniors counted a lot, because they kept us in the game and they kept us focused, and we felt that we had already earned the right to win even games that we lost early in the season, such as the opening games down in Georgia. But until really you start winning, you always have that kind of a lack of confidence, so to speak, towards the end of the game. And it was a huge boost for us to win another game in overtime.
Another big win came a couple weeks later, which was a 3-2 victory over Mary Baldwin at Ives Lamel Family Field. And, the common trend here, Coach Junior, is these 1-goal differentials in these matches. I mean, close matches.
Right.
What's kind of the key to getting the W in these close matchups?
I think it's just grit. The guys, and especially this group that we had through this past year, they were very good at handling adversity, and they had this never give up mentality. And I think that's crucial, especially because we trailed. I think we came from behind. To be fair, I missed the second half because one of our guys got injured, so I had to take him to the hospital. So I kept checking, my phone as I was on the hospital, refreshing kind of the results. So, you see us tie 1-1, then they go ahead 2-1, then us tie 2-2. And, they do have this grit about them that I think helped us out throughout the whole year, because even if we didn't get the result, they were always chasing it, even if they were from behind. And they were really good at dealing with adversity this year.
And then it came down to the final weekend of the regular season, and the ECAC championship tournament was on the line. And, the common consensus was a berth in that tournament required a 500 record or better. And the Tornadoes were right there, all dependent on what would happen on that final weekend, matches versus Berea and Huntington. And Coach L, I know you, really sort of, laid out the mission for the team. If they wanted their season to continue, they had to come up big on that final weekend, and they delivered a 3-1 win over Berea and a 5-0 win over Huntington. Can you reflect back on that weekend and how the Tornadoes really did what they needed to advance to postseason play?
Sure. I mean, when you know that you're not going to be playing the conference tournament, right? You're staring at possibly be finishing the season. And again, you have the seniors starts playing games in your mind that this could be my last 2 games in my career. We knew that we had to at least be 500, but even being 500 possibly could have not been enough. So it was 2 must wins. On top of senior nights, you got to remember the last game was a senior day. So all these things, it's difficult to process all of that when you're young, and they did a wonderful job. They made the games sound like they were easy, and credit to you. You kept saying that every game it was by 1 goal, and it was, so credit to a high percentage finish that day, like it was against Maryville. And that's the goal for next year, because when you put away the chances that you have, it's not like you need to create a whole lot more. You just got to finish the ones you have. Games become easy.
Yeah, that's right. After all those 1-goal games, those final 2 matches of the season, Tornadoes with an 8-1 advantage on that final weekend. So really finished strong. And then a little bit of pins and needles. I remember joining the team for a watch party of sorts as we're refreshing our browsers, waiting for the ECAC championship berths to be announced. And the Tornadoes do indeed get a trip to the ECAC Division III Men's Soccer Championships up in Pennsylvania. And I know that was a worthwhile experience for those seniors. One last chance to play in the Tornado uniform, but also for the younger players who now have some postseason experience under their belt. Coach Junior, I'll let you reflect on, sort of that experience and how that's important for a student athlete to get to experience the bigger stage of postseason play.
Right. I think it's an unforgettable experience. I think it'll be a memory that they'll all be able to recall right away, and they'll have, and it's probably a story that they'll be able to tell for a while. But again, for the older guys, for especially the seniors, I think it was a good way to go out, making it to postseason, and anything can happen in postseason. So, we were really proud of them for all their hard work and their dedication to the program for 4 years. And I feel like it was a culminating event for them to have been able to make history with the program and reach this postseason tournament. And like you said, for the younger guys, it's more experience. They've kind of been exposed to that the postseason experience, and now they have that carrot that they want to start chasing. And I'm hoping that it kind of ignites a fire in their bellies, and that they're wanting to work harder, and that they want to get there again. But overall, it was an unforgettable experience, and it's always nice to travel and go on trips like that with the team and create memories.
Before we wrap up the 2019 season, I do want to touch on a few individual awards which were handed out in the postseason, and just give these student athletes, one more mention before we put a bow on 2019. And the first one, Patrick Hall, the goalkeeper for the Tornadoes, a outstanding career, and now a alumnus of Brevard College, was named all-conference second team, broke all sorts of school records, is now a coach for the Brevard College women's program, and also a full-time employee in the athletic department, helping with operations and sports information behind the scenes. I'd love to hear from both of you as far as Patrick Hall and his contributions.
Oh, good for Brevard. It was somebody who couldn't let go, and I'm so happy to still have him around, and hopefully his, leadership and poise and confidence and just his presence will continue to rub off on our players, because without a doubt, it was one of the top keepers I've ever been associated with, and he deservedly got the award, but couldn't even have gotten more. I thought maybe if we had progressed a little longer, maybe he would have, but he was definitely one of the top keepers in the whole D3 level.
And Coach Mascaro, I know you worked very closely with Patrick throughout his career as his, goalkeeper coach, and you guys put countless hours in. Can you talk a little more about sort of that work ethic and also that leadership of Patrick Hall?
Yeah, definitely. He's a young man he's very professional in everything that he does, and it was really evident, when I was working with him. Especially, I think I started coaching him 2-3 years ago. So really, everything that we did, he has this mentality that he wants to be the best at what he does, no matter what it is. And that kind of I think that was just a natural and innate part of his personality. And I'm very glad that he's working now with us, because now our relationship is a little bit different. But now I am able to interact with him and hopefully mentor him through his early years of his career. So I'm excited to still be able to work with him, and that he's going to stick around, and hopefully we can teach him some tricks on this side of the trade. Now that he's starting his coaching career and his career in athletics, but he's just a very professional young man. And he has this mentality of he's going to be the best at what he's going to do, no matter what it is. Whether it was a simple warm-up exercise, or if it was, a kind of complicated shooting pattern, and whatever it was, he always had this mentality that he was going to be the best at it. And I think that's what he brings to the table.
João Montero wins all conference third team honors along with all sportsmanship team honors. And Mateus Masukawa, NCC SIA College Division All-State second team performer, and also broke some school records. And we had Mateus on the show a few weeks back following the awards banquet, and he let NATO Nation know that he intends to return for a additional season of eligibility, which he has. So the all-time leading goal scorer will be back next season. Love to hear from each of you on those two players as well, João Montero and Mateus Masukawa.
Yeah, both of these guys showed that attitude of never giving up during the game and never giving up until the last second. And you know, there were parts of the reason why we won those games that you mentioned, but at the same time, they were just great players. That's how it is. You know, specifically on Mateus, you mentioned that he's coming back, and let me tell you, he's putting the work, you know, and without breaking any rules, I'm not watching him work out, but, you know, I live on campus, so I can't help it. He's running right in front of my house, and I would expect big things from him next year. You know, I'm very happy to have him back.
Some big-time academic honors as well for the 2019-2020 academic year by the men's soccer program. 11 members on the dean's list, 13 on the honor roll. You had a magna cum laude graduate, a summa cum laude graduate, and then 16 members earn USA South Academic All-Conference Team honors. That's both the varsity and the reserves team, but a grand total of 16, which was the top performing program amongst the athletic department. So congratulations on that. As far as that academic success, I know it's something each of you stress with your student athletes, you know, throughout the year, but it's got to be gratifying to see those kind of results on the GPA side of things.
I'll let Junior tackle that.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, no, most definitely. It's always very encouraging to see them excel in the classroom because that's what they're here for. You know, our goal is to make sure that they get an education and they get their degrees in 3.5 to 4 years. So it's always good that they're taking the academic side of things because seriously, because at the end of the day, that's most of them are not going to be professional players, and this is kind of going to be their last experience as athletes. So we definitely want them to have a solid academic background, and hopefully, you know, with whatever they choose to major in, hopefully they're going to become lifelong learners, and that'll help them in their future careers, jobs, whatever they decide to do. So it was really encouraging not only to see the results on the field, but in the classroom as well.
And special congratulations to all those graduates. We mentioned the senior day. We honored them way back in the fall, but do want to, you know, congratulate them again from the varsity team: Matthew Brethen, Patrick Hall, Eric Lenhart, Javi Marijuena, Mateus Masukawa, Jackson Riddle, and Alex Tenhai. And then 3 reserve student athletes: Javier Avalos, Justin Queen, and Sam Willis. So congratulations to that group on their graduation, and best of luck as they head towards their careers. Now, all that being said, a successful 2019 season, but I know you all are hungry, you know, to get things started in 2020. And a couple items I do want to touch on. You know, you mentioned Coach L not being eligible for conference tournament play. That changes this coming season as Brevard College Athletics, now full-time members in both the USA South and also NCAA Division III, able to get a waiver for that final year of that process. And, you know, beginning in the 2020-21 season, eligible for postseason play, both for the conference, but also the NCAA tournament. That's a big motivating factor, I would imagine, you know, for all the programs on campus, but for you all as men's soccer coaches, that, you know, there's even a bigger goal that can be achieved this year.
No, yeah, I'm very, very excited, especially because we're confirmed to have both in terms of, you know, the conference will have the conference tournament and the NCAA will have a season, although it might be a little more regional this year. I'm talking because of the coronavirus, but yeah, you're right. And last year, if you recall, we ended up canceling the very last game. There was one more game to be played before postseason because of the weather. We canceled, and then we did not play the conference tournament. And so by the time we play on the ECAC, had already spent 10 days with no games, so hopefully this year we right on through, and when we get to the NCAA tournament, God willing, we'll be at our.
And the other big piece of news this summer is the addition of the field house. And anyone who has, driven or walked through the Brevard College campus, you can't help but notice a major construction project going on between Ives Lamel Family Field and where the McCoy Tennis Complex is. And what that is a brand new facility for Brevard College student athletes, men's soccer included, which will include new locker rooms, meeting space, also some classroom space and laboratories for the exercise science program. This is a real game changer for Brevard College athletics, but for the men's soccer program as well. Love to hear from each of you as far as your excitement about the new field house.
You go first, Jordan.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's always very exciting as a coaching staff to have a new space, have a new office, new locker room for the guys. But it's also, on the recruiting side of it, it's definitely something very marketable and something very tangible that you can show your progress, not only as a program, but as an institution. So, it's always really encouraging and it's always, nice to kind of show off your progress. So when we have recruits on campus, it's hard to not see the progress when you have this beautiful field, and now we have the field house to go along with it, and hopefully the stands for the stadium soon. So it really is a testament to how far the institution has come, not only the soccer program, but I'm really excited about it. I know our recruits are really excited about it, and I can't wait to move in.
And Coach L, I know you've been watching the progress of the construction, and I would imagine your excitement is just as high as what Coach Mascaro just explained.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to keep a little log of the progress. We've been posting on Facebook, but bottom line is we do not take it for granted, right? I mean, look around and look how many institutions, because of the situation with the virus, how many institutions struggle with their budgets, make cuts. Unfortunately, some furlough coaches and some drop programs. And we took a pretty bold stance to not let this slow us down. And so kudos to our president and, Junior's dad and our entire administrative level. But like Junior mentioned, it's a great recruiting tool. It makes the whole setup top notch. I believe that I don't see another one in our conference that can compare to, but definitely creates that attitude that we're a top class program, and that's contagious. That's going to reflect on your day practice and maybe even off the field, maybe even a more incredible performance if it's possible in the classroom. I think everything is going to tie up together.
So we mentioned the new field house, and certainly that'll be a big addition beginning this season, and also this opportunity to go to USA South Conference postseason play as well as NCAA Division III postseason play. But if you guys can talk a little bit on the field, what can we expect, as far as the style of play from the Tornadoes and maybe the blend of veterans and newcomers that are expected to come on campus? What can a Tornado fan expect to see when they show up for a fall 2020 Tornado soccer match?
Okay, I'll go first this time. I think we already established a base of what the style of play is. You are always going to have a year that you might tweak something here and there in terms of, as I always say, showcasing the strengths and hiding a little bit of the weaknesses of the people that you have to work with. But I think all in all, we have the way that we play already settled. We just need to add a few things in my estimation, and I think it will be a good year to do that because of the kinds of people that we have returning and coming in. I'm talking in terms of the aggressiveness of our press, so put more pressure and get the ball back quicker than we did last year. We've already brought this up, that scoring more goals make our lives so much easier, right? So on paper, we should be a team that will score more goals. We're going to be versatile enough that we can go big, or we can go small and quick, or we can go, we'll have all sorts of players with different characteristics. But at the end of the day, I feel it's like moving. It's never an easy process to create something big. It's moving to phase two, so to speak. And I can't wait. I'm very excited. I'm very happy with the guys coming back, and very happy with the guys that we signed.
Coach Junior, anything to add there as far as the prospects for fall 2020 on the field?
I mean, I think it's a very talented group, and like Coach L said, we're moving to phase two, so to speak. And I think this group is going to take us to the next level. Because as coaches, every recruiting cycle, we're trying to make the team and the program a little bit better, and we're trying to take the next step to become better and become more competitive. So I think that this group will be able to take us there, and I'm really excited to get started and to work with them.
So a lot of positives in terms of sort of the tangibles of Brevard College men's soccer, the successful year last year, the field house, so on and so forth. But would like to talk a little bit kind of, culture, attitude, the student athlete experience when they're a member of the Brevard College men's soccer team. And Coach L, if you can take a crack at this one first, when I mentioned Brevard College men's soccer and the word team culture, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we're going to do maybe more than we did last year, because last year was kind of too many things hitting you at once, too many new faces, too short of time, so to speak, because we had a shorter preseason. This year, we're going to have a longer preseason. So one thing I want to do this year is turning this into what I call the pyramid, like a three layers. You always will have to work on the basics, which is your fitness, your technique, your just mechanics and repetition and so on and so forth, formations and whatnot. Phase two involves a little more of your just confidence and mentality and just the little things that maybe in sports psychology would apply. And we did a little bit of that last year, but I want to move it to phase three, which it includes a lot of hard stuff. I want to do a personality mapping of our team so they can learn to relate with each other and learn that people react differently to different situations. And that's not a weakness. It's just a characteristic. But knowing how to deal with each other in terms of especially high pressure be valuable later on in life, becoming people of excellence, having a purpose of why am I doing this? Like Junior said, we're not making professional soccer players. So what are we doing this for? I want to have those kind of sessions with them in terms of off the field and just get them to move this culture, like you mentioned, to a level that I'm going to be an overall person of excellence, and I'm going to be somebody that will my heart is going to be into it as much as my mind and my body.
In Junior, you were a student athlete for the Brevard College Tornadoes and
Correct.
certainly very familiar with
Right.
BC. But now, you've mentored plenty of student athletes as men's soccer players, as a coach. When you think about that men's soccer experience at Brevard College, and as you're, perhaps explaining what we're all about to future Tornadoes, what are the things that come to mind?
Well, I think the people first come to mind. When I was going through it, I noticed that I was just surrounded by really good people, and I have my teammates are my lifelong friends, and so I think that's something that I can guarantee somebody that is interested in Brevard. They're going to come and they're going to meet a really good group of people, a really diverse group of people, and they're going to make lifelong friends everywhere in the world. And it's pretty funny now that I'm on the coaching side of it, to see some of the things that I used to do as a player is still kind of that tradition is still with the team, and it's kind of been passed down. So like my generation passed it down to the younger guys, and then the seniors this year, I think I missed them by I think a year, but it was really interesting to see how they kind of had similar traditions and had similar habits to the group that I was with, and they kind of pass those things down to the younger generation. So it's kind of cool to kind of see kind of your legacy get passed down. And but yeah, I mean, we have a really good group of kids, a really good group of people, and you know, you can't really, you know, the material things are one thing and they're nice to have, but if you're not surrounded by a group of people that are going to have your back on and off the field, then why are you doing it? So I think that's something that is very unique about our program is just that everybody is just, we have really good people.
And Junior, I can stick with you for this next one. When you think about Brevard College, you know, the academic offerings, kind of the experience of just being a college student here at Brevard College in Brevard, North Carolina, what are the positives that come to mind there?
I think just the experiential learning model is very beneficial. You know, a lot of people nowadays are very hands-on, and everybody's asking for experience. You know, I remember when I was trying to apply for jobs and stuff, everybody was asking, "Oh, do you have experience? Do you have experience?" And you know, I think we were transitioning to this experiential model when I was on my way out. But now it's on the academic side. You know, the kids are in the classroom and they're doing all these interactive activities, and they're not just sitting there watching their professor read a PowerPoint, but they're actually getting up and doing what they're gonna hopefully do as a career later on. So it's pretty cool to see them just have that applicable experience that they can take to their job and kind of have a head start. So I think that is one thing that is very beneficial.
In Coach L, when I talk about Brevard College and we talk about the academics and, you know, that experiential learning and the mission of the college and so forth, as someone who's, you know, experienced, you know, different campuses across the country, what comes to mind for yourself when we look at Brevard College as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, when I mentioned that the culture that we're trying to bring is a culture of excellence, to me is not always, like Junior mentioned, we're going to have the material side of things added, right? The new facilities, but it's not always about the stuff. It's about what Junior said, the people, and it's about creating synergy, right? Creating that attitude that 1 + 1 = 2, but 1 and 1 equals unbeatable, right? And creating that attitude that I'm in for you, and I'll sacrifice a little bit of something, maybe playing time, maybe, you know, extra effort, whatever the case, for your benefits. So I'll be somebody there for you. So if we create that attitude, that culture, like you mentioned before, it's going to be special because we don't have perhaps the nice things around that some other programs might have. We don't need it. And that's, I think, one of the lessons that will go on with them for the rest of their lives. You don't need to have that to be on top of anything and create something special. You just need to have the right attitude, right? The things that I mentioned until this point. So I'm very, very hopeful that we're going to see that already this year. But I firmly believe that that's one of the reasons why we do what we do.
While many of our listeners and viewers may have met you at Dugan's Pub, we're doing this virtually these days. So we have some new members of our audience who have found us via the Facebook Live or YouTube channels, and they may not know each of your backgrounds. So would love to, you know, let folks know a little bit more about each of you. And we'll stick with you, Coach L, a native of Brazil, where soccer or football is, you know, rules the nation down there. Can you talk about your upbringing and, you know, how you ultimately became a soccer coach?
Yeah, I don't want to give my age away, but I come from a generation that started realizing the importance of staying fit, playing sports, and you know, just switching from bad habits into creating something that will give you a better life, you know. And so I've played many sports, including soccer. But I guess that's the reason why I wanted to become a coach. I never was good enough for any of them. But yeah, that's my story.
and ultimately became a college coach. You have over 400 career wins, which
like
is
that.
just a remarkable number. And stints at Union College, also a great run at Lincoln Memorial, where you set several records and had some conference titles and postseason appearances, and then ultimately here to Brevard College. Can you talk about that part of your journey as far as here in the United States and experiencing small college athletics? I know you've done some work on the administrative side as well, and then ultimately winding up here at Brevard.
Yeah, I started with Dr. Joyce. So he was my first president at Union College. But like you said, it was a long journey. Some titles here and there. I don't like to talk about that much, but plenty of successes and failures that sum up and bring me to where I am right now.
And now, Junior, we touched on your background a little bit when we mentioned that you are a graduate of Brevard College and a alum of the Tornado soccer program. But in so many ways, you may have as deep of roots to Brevard, North Carolina, and Brevard College Tornadoes as anyone I've come across, at least, around the athletic program. Can you kind of talk about that as far as you being brought up as a Tornado before you maybe even realized it yourself?
Yeah, no, for sure. So my parents or my family's lived in Brevard since I was 14 years old. My dad was in college athletics, so somehow they found this little school up in the mountains in Western North Carolina, and so we've been here since I was 14. And I started with the program as a ball boy. So I would after school, if I didn't have soccer, I was the ball boy for the games. Or I would come to the training sessions because my dad used to be the coach way back, not that far back, but he was the coach a few years ago, and so I would pick up the cones, pick up the balls, and I was just really excited to just be around college soccer because that was at the time that was my goal. I wanted to play college soccer, and then when it came time to it, as I was graduating high school, I decided that I wanted to go as far away as possible. But there's just something about Brevard that just felt naturally right. The group of guys that we had was very welcoming, and I had known them because I grew up with them. And so there was just something about Brevard that just felt natural to me, and I decided to stay and I got the opportunity to join the team as a player. And then coaching I don't think coaching I ever considered it as a career path until my senior year. I had no idea what I was going to do, with my life after. And one of my coaches from Brevard, one of my assistants, during my time as a player, called me and said, "Hey, I'm looking for an assistant. Would you like to help me for a year?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to stick. I want to stay around the game." And so I did my first coaching job was at Emory and Henry, and in Virginia. And I don't know, there's just something about the area, something about the school that, I kept kind of keeping up with it. And when the opportunity came to come back, I jumped right on it, and I've been here ever since.
And you also, along the way, earned a master's degree in sports management from Georgia Southern University.
Correct.
Congratulations on that. And I'm sure that helps you as far as kind of understanding how athletics works behind the scenes.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely, we did a lot of sports marketing, a lot of consumer behavior things in my program. So it's definitely helped me a lot in terms of some of my administrative duties, and in terms of kind of what I have to do on the recruiting side of thing, understanding why people decide and make the choices and purchase the products and the goods that they do. And so I kind of try to use that when trying to help when I try to help our recruits pick Brevard. Kind of I want to understand what they're looking for, and hopefully Brevard is a good fit, and we can have a beneficial relationship between myself and our recruits, and we can help them achieve their goals.
Do want to kind of take this conversation a little bit different direction, and in this current state of affairs across the sports landscape, there's not many sports going on for the consumer to enjoy on television, from his or her couch. You might be able to find some auto racing or some golf, but you are able to find, around the world, some international soccer. The Germans, got going with the Bundesliga league. The English Premier League has gotten going.
Yeah.
Can you guys touch on that a little bit? In kind of how that fits into the whole equation these days. The idea that there's international soccer at the highest level available for people to watch on television every weekend, and I think it's going to turn on a lot of new fans because you don't have baseball and basketball and some of the other sports going on at the moment, and people are starved for sports. So people may be experiencing Bundesliga or Premier League for the very first time and catching on to it. Anything to add to sort of the international soccer and its role in the sports consciousness of the American sports fan?
Well, we're a little suspect, right? Because we're already addicted to it. But I agree with you. I mean, I was chasing anything that was on during this period of time. I kid you not, I found on YouTube a channel that was showing the Belarusian National League because it was the only one going on for a few weeks. And matter of fact, I fell in love with it because that's the example that I was mentioning. They don't have much there. They play with passion and they play a good brand of soccer. But at the end of the day, this is a sport that I'm sold on. There's a book called How Soccer Explains the World. I recommend people to read that one because it's a game that, in my estimation, is the way life is, right? You can do all the right things and one little mistake and there goes everything, right? Or you can have a stroke of genius at one moment and conquer everything, which to an extent is the way life is. But at the end of the day, also it's a game that you only have a chance if you work for each other, if you create synergy, the things that I mentioned before. And it's a game of free flowing, right? It's a game that you prepare the players throughout the week, but comes game time, they're bosses. They're their own coaches and they make the calls, and you might, give some instructions from the bench and give some cues, but they need to read it like a chess game and they need to anticipate moves and make decisions on the spot. And that's what I love about the game.
Junior?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely huge. I think especially for young players that they're able to watch the best in the business do what they do. And hopefully it can generate some more interest here in the States. I know, it's already such a fast growing sport here in our country. But I think it's always good for young players to be able to watch soccer and just be exposed to it and be around it. So I'm very glad that the game is back on TV. I know it's made my life a little bit more enjoyable. I have a lot of soccer to watch now, and I think it's just good for kids to be able to watch and learn from the best.
In every 4 years, arguably the most popular sporting event in the world, the World Cup happens. And
Right.
love to hear from each of you as far as, maybe some World Cup memories or, just the whole idea that it doesn't get much more exciting than the World Cup every 4 years.
Right. I mean, I can give you one. I don't even remember what year now, but one of the World Cups, the one that Brazil won against Italy. Junior, help me out here. I can't remember where it was.
90?
Maybe so, but 94 maybe. But
94?
anyways, again, I don't want to give my age, but that World Cup, I was cooped up in. We were doing the coaching license at Notre Dame University, and Notre Dame is very, very conservative, and they don't have even TVs in the dormitories. I mean, they only have it in the lower lounges, and I went to Walmart and bought me cables and did a illegal hookup all the way up to my room, and all the coaches would come to my dorm room to watch the World Cup. But that's how crazy we are and how passionate we are, and we look forward to it every year. But honestly, if there's a game, like Junior said, we're tuned in, and I'm just happy, like Junior said, that there's plenty of soccer back.
Yeah, Coach, the 1994 World Cup, a 0-0 tie, and then a
Penalty kick.
win by Brazil in penalty kicks,
That's
3-2 over Italy. And yeah, the whole nation, I'm sure, just absolutely explodes. Junior, what comes to mind when I mention the World Cup?
Oh man, I vividly remember, and I think this is when I started taking soccer a little bit more serious as a young player. It was the 2006 World Cup, watching that final between France and Italy. And unfortunately, everybody just remembers the sit-on headbutt. I think that's something that'll everybody will remember from that World Cup. But I think that was just my first time where I actually sat down and watched and just kind of fell in love with the game. And kind of that game was definitely a turning point for me where I decided that was the sport I wanted to focus on. And just watching the penalty shootout, I was a goalkeeper, so it's kind of with the PK shootout, just watching Buffon and Barthez play and go through the penalty shootout. That's when I really decided, okay, soccer is a sport I want to take more serious, and the goalkeeper position is something that I really want to do and I really want to be good at. So I think that World Cup was what did it for me.
Okay, you've led me to one final soccer question, Junior, before I get you guys out of here.
Right.
As a goalkeeper coach, when you're
Yeah.
defending against a penalty kick,
Right.
what is the philosophy that you go with? Do you guess a side? Do you wait to see the ball come off the foot of the
Right.
attacker? How do you approach that?
So everybody's gonna have a different answer. I think for me is make a decision and stick to it. Don't double guess. So should I go right? Should I read his hips or whatever? Make a decision with the information that you have, based on the research that you've done, if you've done any, and stick to it. Don't hesitate. And even if you go the wrong side, it is what it is. The striker is supposed to score. A PK shootout or a penalty kick is we're not set up for success. So just make a decision and stick to it. And I think that's my philosophy on penalty kicks.
Very good. And even though that striker's supposed to score, some of the greatest players in the world have
Right.
missed penalty kicks at the
Exactly.
big moments. No doubt about it. Well, before I let you all go, would allow you each the opportunity just to give some final thoughts, some words, perhaps if there's a future tornado out there checking out the program and maybe considering Brevard College, what you might want to communicate to that young student athlete. But the floor is yours. Junior, we'll start with you. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, Brevard is definitely a school that's special to me, not just because it's my alma mater, but it's my hometown. It's kind of like my home team. I looked up to these guys, and I was fortunate to be one of the guys, and now I'm coaching the guys. So it's kind of one of those things that I feel like have come full circle, and I'm just very fortunate that my journey has led me and has kept me at Brevard, and I'm excited to stay for many more years.
Very good. And Coach L, we'll leave the final word to you. Any final thoughts as we sign off on this edition of Tornado Talk?
Yeah, I think we're on track to put something together that is going to be very special. I don't want to promise anything. I don't want to say, hey, we're going to win a conference, we're going to win a national championship. But I can promise you we're going to give it a shot. And for the people that are thinking about joining, it's an opportunity to build something. And hopefully, like these seniors that left this year, they will leave this place better than when they found it. But the truth is, I honestly feel that we're sniffing and we're close enough to have what they call the tipping point, and it could be this year, and I look forward to it.
Very good. Well, want to thank you each for joining this evening's edition of Tornado Talk. Head coach El Dana and Coach Juan Mascaro Jr., Associate Head Coach of the men's soccer program. Be sure to follow Brevard College Athletics on Instagram and Twitter at BC Tornadoes. Also, Facebook and YouTube. You can find us at Brevard College Tornadoes Athletics. This program here will be available via replay on YouTube and also an audio edition of the program on the Brevard College Tornado Athletics SoundCloud station. And Junior, I know you all have some social media accounts specific to Brevard College men's soccer. Would you like to mention those for us?
Yeah, so our Instagram profile is BC_men's soccer. So you can, check it out. We post our game day scores. We really post everything there: camps, game announcements, final scores, GPAs, any kind of awards that we receive. So you can find a lot of information on our Instagram account.
Very good. And also Brevard College men's soccer Facebook page, a good follow as well. Coach Eldana, Coach Mascaro Jr., thank you for joining this evening's edition of Tornado Talk. Can't wait to see you guys in person real soon, and go Tornadoes.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it.